Greetings to you, my subscribers and Simply Chess lovers. You are on the Chess Fan channel and this video features the turning point of the match for the World Championship in classical chess between Emanuel Lasker and Wilhelm Steinitz, which took place in 1894 in New York, Philadelphia, and Montreal. The winner was the first to win 10 games. After the first 6 games the score was equal, 2 victories for each side. The turning point was the 7th game, which Lasker won in a double-edged struggle. Then he won 4 more victories in a row, and won the decisive point in the 19th game. This video shows the moves that took place in the game, and the options are only mentioned. For particularly thoughtful fans, there is the opportunity to consider all the options separately. E2 E4 E7 E6 D2 D4 D7 D5 Knight B1 C3 D5 captures E4 Knight C3 captures E4 Knight B8 D7 Knight G1 F3 Knight G8 F6 Number Knight E4 G3 C7 C5 Bishop F1 E2 C1 0, French with 3 and C3, unusual black third moves and 3, dx E4. C5 captures D4. Knight F3 takes on D4. Bishop F8 C5. Knight D4 B3. The position is equal. Bishop C5 E7. Castling king side. Castling king side. Bishop C1 D2. Queen D8 C7 C2 C4 Knight D7 E5 Queen D1 C2 Knight E5 G6 Rook F1 E1 Bishop C8 D7 Rook A1 C1 Rook F8 C8 Bishop E2 F1 Bishop D7 A4 Bishop D2 C3 Knight F6 G4 And now, BC5 would win. Queen C2 E2 Knight G4 F6 Knight B3 D4 Bishop A4 D7 B2 B4 Rook C8 D8 Queen E2 B2 Rook A8 C8 Knight D4 B3 Queen C7 F4 Bishop C3 D2 Queen F4 B8 B4 B5 B7 B6 Bishop D2 C3 Knight F6 E8 Number Knight G3 H5 F7 F6 A2 A4 E6 E5 A4 A5 Bishop D7 G4 Knight H5 G3 Bishop G4 E6 Knight B3 D2 Knight G6 F4 Queen B2 B1 Prevents ND3 Bishop E6 F7 Knight G3 F5 Bishop E7 F8 Bishop C3 B4 Black must now prevent BX F8 Knight E8 D6 Knight F5 takes on D6 Bishop F8 captures D6 Knight D2 E4 Bishop D6 takes on B4 Queen B1 captures B4 Rook D8 D4 No text 110471 A5 captures B6 A7 captures B6 G2 G3 Knight F4 D3 Bishop F1 captures D3 Rook D4 captures D3 C4 C5 Hoping for CX B6 Rook D3 D4 Black has good play. Queen b4 b1. b6 takes on c5. Knight e4 captures c5. Rook d4 c4. Knight c5 d7. Queen b8 b7. Rook c1 d1. Black converts the advantage convincingly. Bishop f7 e6. Knight d7 takes on e5. f6 captures e5. Rook e1 takes on e5. Bishop e6 h3. Rook e5 d5. Number. Rook c4 c1. Queen b1 d3. h7 h6. kh8. g3 g4. Bishop h3 takes on g4. Pin. f2 f3. Rook c1 takes on d1. Queen d3 captures d1. Bishop g4 e6. Rook d5 d6. Queen b7 e7. b5 b6. Number. Rook c8 c1. Deflection. Queen d1 captures c1. Queen e7 captures d6. Queen c1 e3. Bishop e6 d5. King g1 g2. Queen d6 g6. King g2 f2. Queen g6 c2. King f2 g3. Queen c2 g6. King g3 f2. Queen g6 c2. King f2 g3. Queen c2 g6. King g3 f2. Bishop d5 b7. Queen e3 b3. Queen g6 f7. Queen b3 d3. Queen f7 d5. Queen d3 e3. Queen d5 d6. King f2 g2. King g8 f7. Inhibits qe8 plus. h2 h4. Queen d6 e6. Queen e3 f4. King f7 g6. Queen f4 g3. King g6 h7. Queen g3 f2. Prevents qe2. Queen e6 g4. Deflection. King g2 h2. Queen g4 takes on f3. Queen f2 c2. Queen f3 e4. Queen c2 f2. Queen e4 f3. Queen f2 c2. Bishop b7 e4. Black mates. Queen c2 d2. Queen f3 f6. Queen d2 e3. Queen f6 captures h4. King h2 g1. Queen h4 g5. Weighted error value, white equals 0.32/black equals 0.17, very precise.